Welcome to today's YouTube clip on Aphantasia. This one's slightly different. I'm going to talk about working memory today. Now, for me it is connected. I suppose it's connected if you think of it this way. I have a very poor working memory. So if I explain what working memory is first and then make the connection to Aphantasia, that'll probably help understand why I think it's connected and why it's relevant to talk about. So if you think of working memory, it's that element that's stored when you know something, when you're told something, when you do something, when you need to remember something. So if you stood there and you said to me, okay, remember this number, and you read out a number to me, a phone number, I don't know, 9-digit number, I would forget that number as you were telling me. I couldn't even remember long enough almost to write it down. So how does it manifest itself? Well, say for example you dial a call centre and it says, oh, we've changed our number and you need to redial this number. I would probably have to play that message 3 to 4 times to be able to write down the full number. I would forget every time. I would be like, oh, what was the first bit? And even as I'm writing it down, I still wouldn't remember the whole number. So it takes ages for me to do something like that as a simple task. So quite often, things like that become difficult. If you said, okay, what would it mean in real life? Well, if I'm getting a flight, I'd have to look at every part of the trip through the airport. Have I gone the right gate? What time's the flight leaving? All the details I'd have to physically look each time because I wouldn't remember, oh, 20 minutes ago I walked through the right gate, I walked to the right terminal. I don't remember any of that thing. Now, why the connection to Aphantasia? Well, because I don't have either the sound, maybe played from a tannoy or from anything else, or recording that phone number from the call centre, if you remember, or because I can't bring up visually what I was told, like numbers might appear in my mind and think, oh yeah, that's the phone number. That's why it makes it so much harder for me, because I don't have the backup to do it a different way. It is the only way. If I don't remember, there is no other way for me to do it. Now it can be, I can store it as a fact sometimes, so I might store it as a fact, so a symptomatic memory, and it goes into my long-term memory. But I've got no control over that. I really don't know the mechanism that means that it's happened or it doesn't happen. I wouldn't say it's random, because that would imply there is nothing as a cause or effect. It's more than random, but I don't know what the mechanism is. So for that side of things, I'm not quite sure. But in terms of the purely working memory, I think I've always known I've been like that. I think it's got a lot worse. I think I never could remember phone numbers very easily. I could remember 2 or 3 phone numbers when I was younger and you didn't have mobile phones. But in them days, the numbers were shorter. They were 4 digits, 5 digits, and now we're international numbers and everything else. I really struggled to remember. I really couldn't remember things. And say, for example, if someone told me a story and they said, okay, I'm going to read you a paragraph from the story, and I had to read it back or express what was said in terms of explaining the story, I could probably do that, but I would miss bits out. Even from a paragraph, that would happen. Now, how does that manifest itself in every day? Well, obviously for phone numbers, obviously for what I've just said, if someone's talking and they've told me something. Even books. I think it's part of my problem with reading books. When I read a book, or I read a fiction book, if I try and read it, I would probably forget the page before I got to the bottom of the page. I might remember some context for the page, but it's pretty much gone by the time I've got to the bottom. I don't remember sentences. You know, when someone says, oh, I might remember a poem or a song. No, nothing like that. I couldn't remember I can't retain anything like that. So if somebody said, oh yeah, do you remember the lyrics from your favourite song? No, can't do that either. So it literally is not just my long-term memory in terms of episodic for Restam, but also my working memory as well. And compounded with the aphantasia means I don't get any visual or sound to augment what I'm trying to remember. So it really is pretty much across the memory for me. So instantly as working memory, right through to long-term memory. So people watching this, you might have really good working memories. I really don't know, to be honest. I don't know how this fits into the scheme of things. It could be that it's completely unrelated and I just happen to have that as well as aphantasia, and the two together really don't help. So what does it mean? It means I write things down when I can. But again, adding to that equation and question, I've got dyslexia. So if I had to write down what I'm told, often I can't because I can't spell the word correctly. So it makes it problematic to write things down. So computers were a godsend, really, because it means I can do much more, because obviously they help you spelling and correct things. But you start to understand how difficult it is when you start putting all these bits together. Individually, each one of these things is difficult and problematic if you're trying to learn or if you're trying to remember things in a proactive way. But for me, it makes it so much harder because it almost goes through every part of me in the learning process, which is why I always go and say when I talk about this and say, to me, none of these are a disability. I obviously recognise dyslexia can be, depending on how severe you have it. But the others, together, collectively, they cause me issues in trying to learn and gain knowledge and understand. Now, it's not to say I can't learn, but it takes much more time and it's harder, and the retention of information is harder. So what to take away from this? Well, the question is, how good is your working memory? Have a think about that. What can you do? Can someone tell you a phrase and you can remember it after 20 seconds? Because I may not do that. In fact, it's probably unlikely I could do that. So have a think about how good or bad or how you feel yours is. And does it connect with aphantasia, or does it connect with your long-term memory, or do you think it's unconnected at all? Because it's only through discussion and ideas that we learn what to tell the scientists and clinicians and engineers sometimes, because some of this stuff they really won't understand until we start expressing it. And I think it's important to express it, try and learn it, figure it out. What does it mean? How does it manifest itself? So thanks for watching anyway. This one's about, as I said, working memory. So have a think about how yours might be and get in touch on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram even. But just wanted to share that. So thank you.